Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this and I'm a Who Dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
How do you feel in terms of what you saw from both quarterbacks today, but specifically Spencer Rattler bouncing back again?
Yeah, I think that was a big moment and opportunity for him to have that great drive going down the field. You throw an interception and have to respond, and he responded really, really well. Put the team in excellent position, did a great job with situational football in that 2-minute drive. His ability to play with his feet, came up in a number of situations. And I just thought our guys did a really good job in that, just handling and understand what the situation was.
Who to put in at quarterback on that drive, or did you know, given the situation, you wanted to give Spencer a shot?
Yeah, it's tricky because obviously the one downfall to how this game played out was we just had less drives, and Jake didn't get a chance to go in there, which we certainly wanted him to get in there. But I thought it was important just from an evaluation standpoint on Spence. Just those are critical moments. You have a tough situation, you got to respond.
Have you narrowed this quarterback battle down to Spencer Rattler?
We're just going to keep building through this process, and we think we got 3 really good ones here, and we'll continue to build.
Do you think that decision could come this week before the last preseason game? Or do you think
we'll see.
I got time,
I got first sight here, but film will be an important aspect of this thing, and we'll just see how everything progresses leading into this week.
All right. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sports talk from your favorite sports fam. We up in this thing. Shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. I couldn't do the breakdown like I do play-by-play this week. I'm kind of moving around. But listen, I was able to watch the Saints get the matchup to get the win, or not the win, but the tie. Was really impressed how the Saints were able to produce 12 points in the second quarter, where they were just basically defunct for most of the game. And then they came alive in the second half, tied the game, showed heart. And I think that's what the family members want to see. They want to see a team, not a perfect team, no such thing, but a team that plays hard and just gives all of their heart. That's what we like to see. And we were able to accomplish that. So shout out to you guys. We're going to do the recap in this thing. We got Pops Q in the building as well. Much love to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the stream as we get going in this episode of the recap. Pops, how you doing tonight, brother?
No, I'm doing fine, son. Doing fine. I just had a chance to watch the game, except for the last few minutes of it when they came back and tied it. But they seem to kind of getting their wheels under them. I mean, they gave up some defense, gave up some big plays. But then the second half, they shut a lot of that down, so they was able to come back. They kept Jacksonville out the end zone. And so they was able to get there. They didn't have enough time to tie the game up or win it, but they did tie it, but they couldn't win it, didn't have the time to win it. So I think they're making a little progress. You can start to see some progress being made.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I love the effort, man, especially in the second half. It wasn't pretty good, pretty melancholy the first half of the matchup. Tyler Shough just couldn't reproduce it against the ones. It's tough playing quarterback in the NFL, man. The ones they seemed the ones they had issues with the ones trying to drive it. And of course, Spencer Rattler was able to do it with the twos, but at the end of the day, they kept him in there to make it. It just was excellent, man. I got to give them credit how they played in that second half, man. It was really good. Defense and offense and special teams came alive, man, to help the team get it close. Let's look into some of these team statistics, and then we'll go into further breakdowns. We'll play a little Kellen Moore. We'll then dip and play Spencer Rattler after we do a little breakdown. And I think a guy that really showed big in the matchup was Mason Tipton. He showed up and had a really stellar performance. We're looking for receivers behind our big three to step up, and Mason Tipton and Pettis are kind of making a name for themselves there. But anyway, the team statistics, the Saints had 18 first down versus the Jags 21. Third down, Saints were 4 of 13. That needs work. Jags were 6 of 12. They were perfect on fourth down, 1 for 1. The Jags had 63 the total plays versus the Saints 59, 337 yards versus 335. It was a very exciting game in stretches. Total drops 10 to 9. Jags advantage. The Saints averaged almost 6 yards per play. Jags 5.3. The total passing at 248 versus 241. They were just throwing it around. The interceptions were there. Turnovers by the Jags, as one by the Saints. Saints quarterback was sacked twice in the game, and the Saints had 87 yards rushing off of 21 carries. That's a 4.1 yard average. The Jags a little bit better, 96 off of 26 attempts, almost 4 yards per rush. And then the red zone, they were 2 of 3 in the red zone. Saints 0 for 2 last week. They were 1 for 3 this week, and the penalties were still there. 4 for 61 by the Jags. Saints had 6 penalties for 57 yards last week. It was about 7, I believe. Then, of course, like I said, the turnovers. Jags had 3 turnovers. Saints had 1. We weren't able to capitalize and take those turnovers and turn them into points. That's something that have to be worked on. The time of possession was basically a wash at 31-12 versus 28-48 by the Saints. And then, of course, going in the individual side of things with the black and gold, you can see Spencer Rattler had a really good performance. 18 of 24 for almost 200 yards. He averaged over 8 yards per throw, 1 touchdown, and an interception that he threw in just a young quarterback folly. He stared down the receiver, and the cornerback jumped the route, took the ball. You can't do that. You got to look away and look or pump fake to the opposite side before you go to that guy. You can't stare him down. Those defensive backs in the NFL are too good. They jumped that route. Lucky we ain't, the guy ain't take it for the pick six. They would bring him down. Tyler Shough was 9 of 12 for 66 yards, 5.5 yards per throw. He was sacked twice, 87.5 on the rate, so not so much going on. The offense was non-existent. When Tyler was running it, he struggled. Top rusher for the Saints, Velus Jones Jr., 4 carries for 29 yards. Kendra had 6 for 21. Spencer scrabbled 3 times for 19 yards and had a 2-point conversion at the end of the game to tie it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 4 for 12. Nothing really exciting going on. Marcus Yarns, 2 for 4. Cam Akers not making any way for himself, 2 for 2. Mason Tipton, 6 catches on 8 targets, 100 yards. He averaged almost 17 yards per catch. Dante Pettis, the other speedster, 4 for 4 catches off of 6 targets for 57 yards. He had a touchdown from Spencer Rattler. Trayton Welch, out of all of the backup tight ends, Trayton Welch made 2 really good catches for the Saints. One extremely difficult one, 2 catches for 30 yards off of 2 attempts. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 2 for 16. Rashid Shaheed was in there early on, 3 for 15 off of 3. Jacobson, 2 for 12. Chris Olave was 2 out of 4 for 12 yards. He had an easy drop where he almost did a Prince-like split out there. So also Vernon Broughton, the big defensive end, had a fumble recovery, and the young guys for the defense stepped up. 9 total tackles by Quincy Riley. He also had a tackle for a loss. Ugo Amadi had 5 tackles. DeMarco Jackson had 5. Jonas Sanker was bringing the pain, too. He had a pick plus 5 tackles in the pass defense. Danny Stutzman had 5 tackles as well as a pass defense. And, of course, we know no sacks by the Saints defense today, but they did get interceptions. Jonas Sanker got 1. He returned for 40 yards, and Jalen Ford had 1 that he picked off as well. Really good pick by Jalen Ford as he continued to show up. Jonas Sanker and Jalen Ford, young players on the Saints defense, showing a lot of promise. Kick return game, not nothing really showing solid. As Velus Jones Jr. had 2 kick returns for 40 yards, 20-yard average. Jaden Price had 1 he returned for 31 yards. So the Saints still looking for the punt returner as well. Jaden Price got an opportunity to return a punt. He only had 1 for 13 yards. As we still looking for who will be the return man. It appears that Bellis Jones Jr. might be that guy. We don't know. Charlie Smith had a really good game today. He was 2 for 2 kicking. 40 yards long was his longest. He had 6 points. Blake Grupe was 1 for 1 as well. Charlie Smith really kicking the hell out the ball, but Blake still leading the battle. And like I said, still a punter battle going on for the next punter for the Saints. Kai Kroger had 2 for 99, averaged almost 50 yards per punt for the Saints. His longest was a 54-yard boomer. And James Burnap had 2 punts for 87 yards, averaged 43.5 yards. He put one of the 2 inside of the 20-yard line. So I don't know how they're going to gauge that one, man. Burnap and Kai Kroger really punting for the Saints starting position. They got a punter battle going on as well. So anyway, and of course on the other side, not much to talk about on the Jaguar side. Nick Mullins was the top guy, 14 to 17 for 112 yards. He had a pick. Trevor Lawrence went in the game for a few. He was 8 for 10 for 76 yards. Did throw a touchdown. His rating was 131.7. Tootin, the big running back, had 10 carries for 35 yards and a touchdown. Trevor Etienne, 3 carries for 24 yards for them. And their top guy getting the ball, Austin Trammell, had 4 for 27. LaQuint Allen Jr. had 4 for 24 for their side of things. So there it is for you. 17, all the Saints get a preseason tie against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The final matchup is next week in the Superdome up against the Sean Payton-led Denver Bronco Club. So, Pops, with that being said, man, let's hear what you mentioned and talked about a few things that you've seen early on in the matchup against the Jaguars. Talk to me about players who really stepped up to you in the matchup. Kind of break some of the things. How you like Spencer in this time around, and any other particular players caught your eye?
Spencer was decisive. I liked the throws that he was making. He took his time. He scrambled when he didn't step back there in the pocket. He took his time. He didn't scramble. He scrambled when he chose to, and scrambled. Didn't have to scramble. He wasn't forced to scramble. He took advantage of what was there, which is showing sometime with his maturity. He's starting to mature more and more as a quarterback. The Tipton kid, he's big, tall. He's got speed. He kind of reminds me of a young Mike Evans. He's kind of built along those lines. A young kid with great hands and good speed, and he gets away from the defenders and he can run once he catches the ball. I think we might have something in this kid if we can hold on to him, Tipton. And then the running game is starting to wake up now. They were of course they weren't playing against the number one. They were playing against the scrub players, but I mean they were able to make some good runs. So like I said, I'm giving them time. I see some good stuff coming here. See some good things happening for the Saints. I really am. And they can continue to, and I'm thinking that we're starting to see Kellen's program starting to work with the Saints players, because they executed, especially in that second half, they executed much, much better. I mean, they threw the ball. Our quarterbacks threw the ball a little bit better. We had interceptions, but our quarterbacks were throwing the ball a lot better, especially Rattler in that second half. Rattler was like dart. He was getting that ball out. It's like zip, 1, 2, 3, it's out. So to keep him from getting sacked, I like that. I like the way he responded to the challenges that's from last week. You see what I'm saying? The way he was playing last week, and then now this week, there's an improvement. You can see an improvement in our quarterback play, and that's always a positive for us.
Yeah, that's a big positive. And we talked about it. The battle for the QB position is ultimately going to go down to the final week. Yeah. So and then after that, I mean, he'll have the last game, and of course they'll have a week in between the start of the regular season for them to whittle the team down to 53 people. And it's going to be a tough call, but some of these positions appear to be getting kind of leveled out. We talked about the backup wide receivers, Mason Tipton and Pettis. Well, guys got a lot of opportunity to show what they do. None of these other guys have stepped out at all, so it's good to see that narrow. The tight end, the backup tight end position is still kind of interesting because you see Michael Jacobson do some things. You see Trayton Welch make a few difficult catches. Matavo still hasn't separated himself, even though he's a draft pick. But, like I said, there was a few things that we seen. Pops, what do you think about the running back battle today? Did Kendre Miller do enough to kind of stay ahead? Because a lot of people think that his backup position is up for grabs. I still say I don't think so. I still think he's number 2. What do you think about the backup running back position?
Yeah, he showed me some things. He showed me some. In other words, the holes that he hit, he had. Excuse me. He didn't get much. Didn't gain too many yards out of with his runs, but he runs with power. Runs with a little power there. He don't go down soon as he get hit. Some of them like Kamara in his younger days, he bowl over a defensive back or a guy that's trying to get him down. But Kendrick, as soon as he got hit down right there. So, but he did have a couple of break runs, and like I say, I'm impressed with him. I think he's most likely going to make the team, but I'm not going to definitely say it because some of those other young runners there, but they were playing against, backups, like backups to backups. Some of them had some good runs. Some of the little backups that we have made some good runs. But whether Miller earned a spot on the team, yeah, it might be. He might. I think he probably will make the Saints. I'm not going to definitely say that, we're going to put this man on a team. I'm just thinking that he may eke in because he's a hard-nosed type of runner. But, he has his moments. And then injury could take him right out without a problem. So we got to give it a little time to see how he goes. Now, he did well today. He did well. He did, very well today. How he's going to be doing as we look forward, like this last game is going to be a very determining game for some of the guys. Like I said, I'm impressed with Tipton and Pettis. Those 2 guys will go out there and they'll make plays. You just have to get the quarterback has to just get them the ball. I mean, like I said, Tipton is a kind of tall guy. I think maybe, I don't know how tall he is, but he looks like he's kind of a tall young man, but he catch that football. I ain't kidding you. I'm just, I think he's got a spot. Really do, because they really, they came like I don't know what Kellen told them at halftime when they came out there and they started slinging the ball. Rattler just took control of the offense, and he's proven more and more it's going to be a very, very difficult decision that Kellen Moore going to have to make when it comes down to when we play against the Cardinals out there in Arizona. I think that's a away game, but anyway, I like the progress. It wasn't an explosive type progress, but you can see definite progress. Every now and then they have the occasional pick, interception, but we got interception. The Jags quarterback threw a pick right to one of our guys. He said, "Here, man, catch this football," and they tossed it out there to him, and he picked it off. So we need to make sure our defense is opportunistic. How you want to say that word? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I can't get that word. I'm not going to
I be messing up some shit too. I ain't gonna lie to you on here, man. I get stuck on some words every now and again. I be like, man, I be doing too many damn streams. Opportunistic. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's all right, Pops. That's all good. We feel you. We know you. Now, but the Arizona game, now you're right. Opportunistic defense is definitely what we have. Then these guys in the second half showed that. Jalen Ford stepped up. He did some positive stuff. We seen him making moves in there. DeMarco Jackson, a guy that I've given a lot of criticism to. He had 5 tackles today. Jonas Sanker had an interception. Jalen Ford had an interception. So you had guys out there. Vernon Brockton had a fumble recovery. So you had positive players. Ugo Amadi had 5 tackles as well. And the defense is showing, some confidence. They playing with a lot of freedom, and that hopefully that translates over. But it's the future bright with Jalen Ford and those guys. Pops. Let's kind of talk about the offensive line, man, and then we'll kind of move over to the defense and special teams. What's interesting to me is that when we watched the offensive line today in the first half, I didn't like what I saw.
Yeah,
You know, I didn't like the fact that we're not running the ball as well as we're supposed to be running. I know all our guys are not there, but still in all, I'm looking, like I tell the family members, I'm looking for execution. When you're dealing with the preseason games, that's basically what you're looking for. You're looking for, can players execute? Can guys execute? Can they make blocks? Can they make tackles? Can they make catches? Can they pry the ball loose and create fumbles? Can they make kicks and punt? This type of thing. The first half, again, was kind of the offensive line didn't look as good as I would have liked them to look. And the credit in the second half, the offensive line, the backups actually did a pretty decent job for Spencer Rattler to be able to move, to be able to get points scored in the second half. So what's your thoughts on the offensive line?
They must have, like I said, the coach must have got on them and talked to them and got something going, because they came out, man, they played a lot better. That offensive line played a lot better. And that's what's attributed to they got the tie. I mean, they didn't get a loss. A tie is not a loss. But these two teams played, they played head up. They played up pretty good. I just like the way I enjoyed watching the game. I did. I'd like to have seen the Saints come out, but winning. But that's the way the game went. So we got a tie.
Right. Yeah, you're right, Pops. A tie is not a loss. That's a good point. And it's the fact. Now, I know we didn't get the win, but I hope the family members and a lot of the great Saint think tank family members are really intelligent. They're not going.
Oh yes, they are.
They're gonna. They already know that it's about the execution, like how the Saints scrambled back to tie the game.
Yeah,
really was excellent. If they had another minute or two left, they would have won the game. But it just showed that they showed heart and courage. Spencer Rattler turned the tables. Spencer Rattler in the second half took possession of and remember I said when we studied the tape, and we'll study the tape for Patreon this upcoming week and go over it. But when I studied the tape last week from Spencer Rattler with the ones, the chemistry wasn't there, with some of these players. And he with the throws that he made toward the sideline, I was like, Spencer, if you want to be an NFL starting quarterback, you have to make those throws. Yeah. And in this game, Pops, he had in that second half moving around, making plays and making throws toward the sideline between the wide receiver and the sideline, a tight window. Spencer Rattler was throwing lines. I mean, he put that ball, he was darting that ball to those wide receivers and moving that offense. And he was charismatic. He was relaxed. He threw the interception because he stared the guy down, but he then came back and then had not a winning drive, but a winning feeling drive to me. Like they moved the offense, they excited the crowd, and the family members was just pleased and happy by the fact that they played with courage and intensity. They didn't win the game, but they played with courage and intensity to tie the game, and that's something that we appreciate. Yeah. We really appreciate that. So that's
a feeling I got out of it. To see them battle back, that really made me feel pretty good. I say, this is the type of team this coaching staff is putting this mindset into this team. We may surprise some people this year.
Right. Absolutely.
Yep.
Go ahead, Pops. You said, cuz I don't want to cut your thought. I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying, I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Now, Peyton coming in here next week, right?
That's right.
His butt need to be kicked because he come here. He did it to us last year. So we got now we're gonna have a real team we could deal with. It's gonna be a good chance to continue to build this team and make sure these guys understand how important it is to get to make the right plays and get the big. Because we're gonna be really playing a tough team coming in, and even though it's preseason, we're gonna be playing a kind of tough team this year coming in. The Broncos and I love to get that. Plus, we got them here, so I'd love to get the victory on them next Sunday. Just give it to Peyton.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. He won. His team won this week, 27 to what was it, 27-7 against the Cardinals. So they're coming into New Orleans undefeated in the preseason. So they're playing really good. Coach Payton, he got them playing really good football. But you're right, Pops. This will be a good game for Kellen Moore to kind of stick it to Coach Payton in the Superdome, even if it's preseason, and it has like a semi-regular season feel because so many jobs are on the line. Like, Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler are still competing for the situation, for the quarterback start job. And you heard Kellen Moore, one of the reporters, astutely asked him about, could this be decided this week? I'm like, nah, it's still up in the air. A lot of the Who Dat Nation, we got a poll question. Shout out to Jamaica that inspired the poll. She said that, could we put a poll in the chat for the family members to vote on to get their thought process on who's winning the QB battle as of now. Like last week, Tyler Shough really stepped up and showed us something. This time, the energy flowed to Spencer Rattler. Now, coming into this next week, it'll be interesting to see who Kellen Moore put at the 1. You know what I'm saying? Because whoever, if the guy playing the 1 position, and it'll be interesting to see if he keeps those 1s in there a little longer, so both guys can have an opportunity to play behind the 1, so you have more of a clearer, understanding of who needs to be the starting quarterback in week. But anyway, y'all feel free to vote on the poll, man. Right now, we got over 40-something people on the poll right now. Y'all put y'all vote in on that. But right now, I got who is winning the QB battle so far right now at this point. And 81% of the family members said it is Spencer Rattler. 12 said it's tied, and 6% says it's Tyler Shough. So y'all if you didn't vote, now's your opportunity to vote. The polls in the chat as well. Shout out to 504 Cole says, Q, do you understand how special it is to share this time with your father, bro? This is special, Q. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you for that, man. For all that. Yes, it's the sports coma, man. It's me and my pops always talk about sports and the Saints, the Pelicans, LSU. Been doing that since since I came up in the world. So we always been talking sports, even when I was a youngster. But it's just pretty cool when I started the broadcast to kind of add my son Robbie. He kind of asking. He's a sports guy. My pops has always been a sports guy. He inspired a lot of my sports knowledge. So to be able to share this platform with this man here is an honor. So yeah, shout out to you. Thank you for throwing that out there, bro. Appreciate that. Swagged Out says Spencer Rattler not just trying to win the QB battle, he trying to win game. Shout out to Swagged Out. Brother Abraham, what's up, my brother? Appreciate you for being in the stream. Back says Rattler is QB1. Vibin says Isaiah Stallbird is a keeper. Shout out, bro. Appreciate that. Listen, Pops, let's kind of talk about that because let's kind of cross over to the defense. We talked about the defense. Their guys is playing. What do you think about how the defense has played so far in training camp and into the preseason games? Who in particular out of the Saints team over the last couple of weeks who kind of caught your eye and you think that could possibly make the team? What guys you like?
Well, I like some of the guys along the defensive line. I mean, we still, like initially in the first part of the game, we were giving up. We were being gashed. We have to stop that. That's the only problem. The defensive line. The guys that we got in there, we got some good guys that'll play, but we're still getting gashed with the running game. That's the only problem I'm gonna have with them. If they can get that fixed, along with the progress that the offense has made, we get teams off the field. If we can stop the run. I mean, how many third down conversions that these two teams that played against the Saints have gotten? Because they just run, the power game just power right up, power right through the middle. You know what I'm saying? That's something we just have to stop. We just got to stop that. Figure out a way, because if we bring that into the regular season, we're not gonna get anywhere. So we've got to figure out whose heart is in the right place that can help stop this running game. You got to be able to recognize the running lanes and plug them up. But I've seen some. I mean, they were like blowing the Saints off the football in the first half, first quarter. They just marched right down the field. There was a lot of passing plays, but there were some running plays with guys running straight through our offensive line. We need a run stopper to stop the middle, we could deal with the sweeps, the edge sweeps, stuff like that, but you're running straight up the middle on us, and that's what a lot of teams are doing. And if we don't correct that, son, we're gonna be, guess what? We're gonna be just like we were last year, because teams say we got to get the ability to get these people off the field. And if you stop the run, you have a damn good chance to get them to get the ball back and give get a chance to get the ball back. I mean, you get off the field. If you stop the run, you get them off the field. You get the offense off the field of the team. But they had some big holes. They were running that ball on us pretty good there in that first half. A couple of them, they then gradually, as they got to the second half, they start trying to stop some of it. And got Jacksonville off the field. But initially, that first half, especially that first quarter, Jacksonville just marched straight down the field, like pitch and catch. Take this ball, run this way, run that way. And somehow guys are out of position. They got to be taught. You got to stay in position. Watch the quarterback. Stay in position. Once he hands that ball off, you flow to where the ball is.
Right.
You have to flow to where the ball is. So the only way you can stop it, once you get to where that ball is, got to grab the man. That's what you got. That's the only way you can stop it. You have to flow to the ball.
Yeah, Pops, I was looking at, man, listen, you're absolutely right. The Saints offense and the defense just didn't have it. They made whatever adjustment they need to make in the second half. Guys came in with more heart and courage and more passion. Whatever Coach Moore told them in the second half, they aspire these guys to have that turnaround, because the Saints defense turned the Jaguars offense off, and then the offense turned on and was able to score 17 while stopping the Jaguars. They flipped the script. So the energy changed big time with it. So whatever Kellen Moore told those guys, it worked, because they almost won this game if they'd had more time. But outside of that, the point you made, you talking about some of the defense needing to stop the run. That's a big point of contention with what happened last year. Like, not repeating this. I've been adamant and kind of putting this message out, pretty redundant to the Great Saint Think Tank and the Who Dat Nation, about fixing the flaws of the past. Like, whatever we did in the offseason is supposed to culminate in fixing the things like stopping the run and running the football. That's number one. So Kellen Moore comes in, he drafts, he moves, he brings some guys in to change something. I like what Kelvin Banks Jr. is doing, but what I'm seeing from the offensive line right now is it's just not it. It's not it. The backups, credit to the backups. The backups they did a really solid job. The energy was different with the backups behind Spencer Rattler. When you got a quarterback back there making plays, it's like a superpower that just charges these average backups and make them to a degrees better than what they actually are. They play with more of a focus, more of an intention. So I just think that watching what I seen offensively, the second half was a big sea change. A great point one of the Great Saint Think Tank family members talked about in the chat is they mentioned the fact that whoever plays with the ones struggle, whoever the quarterback is. So this is that's a great point, because I was thinking about it when we was going in, and I was like watching it, because when you seen the trend happen the first week, okay, is that Tyler Shough is that good? And then you give Shough the ones, and Shough looks like Spencer did with the ones the previous week. So whoever running with the ones, don't play well. So who it's going to be crazy, because I guess whoever the quarterback, and it says like, man, I hope Kellen Moore, I hope he pick Tyler Shough to run the ones. I run the twos again. I win the Q. You see what I'm saying? So whoever can take possession of the ones, Pops, and make them look decent, because they haven't looked decent. Whoever can get them to move and shake, they might end up winning the job. But one of the family members made also a great point about Spencer Rattler will get the job, but eventually he might not keep the job. And that's why I was saying Tyler Shough from what I'm seeing is he playing well, but he ain't playing well enough to be the day opener starter for the Saints. The Saints might go with Spencer, but like I said, winning the job is going to be, even though it's a difficult, it's the easier part versus maintaining and keeping the job from Tyler Shough. If Spencer wins the day one, you see what I'm saying, Pops? If he wins the day one job, it'll be incredibly difficult for him to keep Tyler Shough off of him because he would have to play at a high level to keep Tyler on the bench.
Right.
If he have 2 interception performance and offense is not doing what it's going to do, man, they're going to pull him up out of there and put Tyler Shough in.
Right.
So, I mean, but what do you think about the problem that our quarterbacks, either Spencer or Rattler, is having playing with the ones? What do you think about that difficulty?
Familiarity. They're not familiar with the how the ones
shout out to Jack.
They don't have they got to get sometimes the quarterback, and I know Breeze used to do that a lot. He pull his offensive line on the side and talk to him, tell him what he need to do and tell him what he's planning on doing. You have to talk to your people. You have to talk to your quarterback. And the quarterback has to talk to the defensive back. It's gonna take him some time. It's gonna take him a little time to get used to him. He started to come around. You see what I'm saying? He's gonna come around if he wants that number one spot. He plan on holding that number one spot. He's gonna have to come around where he can communicate more better with his offensive line. Because they up front. They can't see what's behind him. But he has to learn how to be, okay, I'm going to this particular person, I'm going to this guy, this wide out, I'm going to this running back, or dump the ball off. Depending on how the defense look, how did the quarterback read the defense, and you have to be able to read the defense, if you go, especially if you plan on going deep. Now, if you had a threat out on the field, if you got a threat, why like this Tipton kid, I'm watching him very close because he could end up being a deep threat opposite Shaheed. And you get a deep threat, or you get a couple of guys that can shake these people. You understand? Then your offensive line, you don't really need to depend on him. I know where I'm going with the ball. I know my guy gonna be there. If he's gonna be in the right spot, sit in the spot. But when he turns around and make his spot, make the turn to sit in that zone where the ball should be there as soon as he makes the turn. And Drew Brees was excellent at that. These young kids, they're gonna have to learn how to do that, and I think they will. They got the right smart enough coaches and stuff to teach them. I think they're gonna make it. We're gonna be all right. We'll hit some bumps along the way. That's for sure. The Tampa Bays and some of the other rough teams we got. When the last time we beat a team like Tampa? What, we lost to them the last 3? We lost the last 3 times to them. I can remember.
I mean, we have. The thing about it too is some of these games, the Saints that we lost to our NFC South people, our competition in NFC South were games the Saints could have had. Like there were so many close losses, like games we just let get away. They had some blowouts there, but the Philadelphia game, where we lost to Philadelphia in the 3rd week, we had the game. The Saints fumbled and stumbled that game away. We should have beat Philadelphia. Yeah. And then it went downhill because the man lost possession of his team. He lost his team, and that's how you free fall. They don't do anything different. When the idiots seen that they lost 2 straight, 3 straight should have been, hey man, we can't stop this. Then it's 4, then it's 5, then it's 6, then it's 7, and then this type of thing. You can't allow your team to free slide like that. A lot of times we just seen those close losses like that with all this kind of stuff. But I think people forget the leadership aspect that we didn't have none. You didn't have a brain at the head coach level. And when you have a dumb, fumbling, stumbling, stupid head coach, your team mirrors the head coach. The head coach the team is literally a physical resemblance, in spirit and mentality and everything of its head coach. So if you got a bad head coach, the team will underperform. And we've seen that happen. Yes. Kellen Moore's team showed resilience, like in the second half. The young team and a lot of those guys with backups, they showed resilience to want to do it. They made some because Jaguars was out there covering them. They made a lot of difficult catches out there. We seen Dante Pettis making really tough grabs. We seen Mason Tipton making tough grabs. We seen Trayton Welch making tough catches. they were making some tough catches to drive the offense for the Saints to get it. So they
Yeah.
deserve a pat on their back for what they did.
Oh yeah.
And we need to keep
I
that spirit going forward, though, Pops. That's the bottom line. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah. Now, I think we will. We got a good young coaching staff, and I think they'll keep the guys. And even though they didn't win, they didn't lose. You know, so
That's
I
right.
think
That's right.
Mm-hmm. I don't want. All I want to see them do is just keep on keeping on. I think they might surprise some people. Like I said, we might see some surprise unless somebody gets hurt. But I think they starting to come around. Really are.
Yeah, I think they're heading in the right direction. Jaden, shout out to Jaden. I asked, what do we think about the play calling today for the offense and defense? I mean, I think it's basically, and nothing complicated about it. I think they took shots, and in the second half, I liked the execution. Like they still keeping it very much vanilla on offense and defense. So, when you see what they're calling, I don't think a lot of the stuff if any of this stuff that they're using, is throwaway playbook stuff that they have in the preseason. A lot of these plays are just basic stuff that they can't use to copy you when you go into the first couple of weeks of the season. Because once you get a couple of games worth of film on you, Pops, they be trying to look at you and take you apart. That's what they did the Saints last year when the Saints ran through Carolina, ran through Dallas, and then we got to Philly. Things got a little difficult. We lost McCoy. Should have won that game, and then the rest of it, as those weeks mount, they build. Then you see the NFL start dissecting you and figuring you. Oh, they like to do this, and then they take that away from you. Take this away from you.
Tendencies, yeah.
Right, they take it away. To force your adjustment ability. Coach Payton was excellent at that. We're gonna see how good Kellen Moore is. If when people start taking things away from him, can he adapt? Can he innovate and do things differently to keep his offense flowing? But in terms, what I see from the offense is pretty much its basic stuff. The execution was better in the second half than it was in the first. But go ahead, Pops. What you thought?
Yeah, that's true. I think they were. I mean, it was fun watching them. They were really executing it. There wasn't sacks going on, and that was going on in the first. I think if they can keep them playing at that level, the players are gonna learn, man. They're gonna learn. We gotta look at our offensive line really seriously. It's who's gonna perform, who's gonna be ready to start for us, and we can't put anybody in there. Even I don't think that Arizona I don't think they're as good a team as the Saints. I think it would be if the Saints just played their basic and didn't go to their stuff that they normally would use in the regular season. I think they may have a chance at this game.
Yeah, that's the big thing too. A lot of the family members is calling out some of the players. Foskey and all these guys. So who gonna make the team? It's gonna be an interesting last week down. That's why these preseason games mean so much, because a lot of the bad calls, and like I said, it's a tough thing for Isaiah Foskey. And I talked about this in the last stream. They basically did a Trevor Penning on. Like Trevor Penning is behind on his development because he didn't play in the first year they drafted him. He played one game at the end of the year. They threw him in at left tackle the second year. He crashed and burned in 3 or 4 games. They buried him on the active depth chart of the team. He had undrafted guys playing over the top of him. They worked him back later on in the back of it. And then when the third year come, they made him a right tackle. He did better, even though, it should have been like a rookie year. That was his actual rookie year where he had an opportunity to play a full season without the pressures. And then in his final year, he go at the left guard, because they're trying to find every position in the world to find for Penning to play. That's not the case with Isaiah Foskey. These guys are underdeveloped because the Saints didn't find a position for him. And I mentioned the term, I talked about this. I said, they don't just do it because Foskey's a second-round pick. Foskey has talent. Like I said, he's Notre Dame sack leader. He's the all-time sack leader at the University of Notre Dame, and they had really good players that came from there who were on the defensive line that made some headway in the NFL.
Right.
But you still got, even if you have the talent, you have to find a role for him. And the Saints done this over and over again. Whether it was guys like, what's his name, Zach Bond, who the Saints picked up, traded up in the third round to get Bond, couldn't find a place for him. Bond goes to Philadelphia, helps him win a championship, earns a contract, and is one of their best defenders. Saints had that guy.
Yes, they did.
You
I
see?
remember that going. Yeah.
So you have the same thing happen with guys that have talent, but the Saints don't find an opportunity for them to play. Like they just bury Foskey. You had Peyton Turner here. Peyton Turner was drafted to be a guy. Peyton Turner kept getting hurt. He was undeveloped. This was the Saints' call, and ultimately what the Saints did, signed Chase Young.
Yeah.
They signed Chase Young. When Chase Young came, I said, that's the end of Pete Werner because, I mean, not Pete, Peyton Turner. When it was over, he was done for because Chase Young was the guy. Carl
Right.
Granderson had the other contract. Chase Young was going to get his money. And then what does that do for Foskey? Foskey's sitting there. You thinking Foskey going to be a defensive end. Then they change it from a 43 to a 34, which
Yeah, I remember
he has
that.
a skill. You got the skill set to play, Pops, but they bring in other people that are veterans that played it before. Chris Rump, the second, who've been looking really good. You got guys like Jonah Williams and all these other guys that they bring into the team that has a familiarity with that style of defense. And where's Foskey? He's struggling to try to fit in his third year. So it's just one of those things. Didn't have a clear plan to get Foskey in some time to develop because, I mean, you ain't going to really show your potential or become as great as you are unless you're able to get into the game and get reps in live game action. And that just wasn't the case. So we got players like that. But go ahead, Pops, what you thinking on that?
Yeah, a lot of that is on the result of the head coach, the last head coach, the Possum fella. You know, he stand up there like a possum trying to explain himself, and
that ugly bastard was standing up there, Pops.
he just wasted the girl's money. You know, come on, man. I'm glad they got rid of him, but at least they got him up out of here. And it's starting to we starting to see some positive results. I love it. I'm gonna be watching them, man. I know they're gonna make mistakes, but I think we got something good here, man. We just gotta keep on developing it, and I think we got the right young coaching staff to try to get them. And the ones that don't work out, gotta hit the road. You can't sit around there and keep them on the staff, and they're not doing it. You know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, fam. It's going to be interesting, to be honest with you, because the offense appears to be more patient. And I've said this before with the development of young players versus the defense. Brandon Staley is bringing in players. If y'all seen Foskey ain't working out, they tried out 3 defensive linemen. They signed Williams. What's his name? Martin. Not Williams. Martin. Jamie Martin is his name.
Mm-hmm.
He signed a new defensive lineman from the Browns. This guy played for the Browns and all these and a couple other teams. They brought him in here after trying out 3 other guys. So they're not going. The defense is not sitting around saying, "Hey, man, we're gonna be patient with you." No, Staley is more aggressive in his approach to make the Saints defense hit right away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, offense is being a lot more patient with people. So it's a very different look on how the team is moving from an energy standpoint.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll see how it work out, though.
Yeah. One of the most, like I said, our biggest issue is we can't stop the run. Yeah. And once they do something about controlling the run, we'll be able to see a little improvement. Might be able to step up a notch or two, but we got to stop that run, man. That run. I mean, I don't know if Jacksonville used their number ones, but they just marched right down the field, just like
yeah.
And then they punched it in for a touchdown. There wasn't no throwing. I think he threw it. I think their quarterback threw that ball on a couple of times in that whole drive, but most of it was just runs, power runs.
Right.
Yeah. We've got to be able to stop those power runs. They did a lot better in the second half, you know. Right. But they just got to keep on. They got to stop the run. Otherwise, we're gonna be in the same boat.
Indeed. Ben on B says, we need to let Penning go, Q. He continues to give his chest up, and instead of punching the defender's chest, he opts the bear hug. We need to move on. And he's doing better, but the Saints, and I noticed when they did the Dylan Redunce thing, when they took Dylan Redunce and moved him to blindside tackle, I was like, Penning and Dylan are supposed to be competing for the guard battle. What are we doing here? When did we decide to make Redunce a tackle, a blindside tackle? That makes no sense. No, he needs to be in a direct competition with Penning because I'm not sold on Penning at guard either. Even though Penning, from a paper standpoint, should be able to play the guard because he struggled at both tackle positions, did better at the right than the left, obviously. When you kick him inside, he's supposed to do it. But the technique, I keep saying the same thing. He struggles from inconsistent technique. Penning blocks up too high. Now, he's done better, but he's a 6 foot. What is Penning? 6'6". He's a big guard and a big tackle, big offensive lineman that had never played tackle before, but has to bend his knees and use his leverage. And he's keeps getting to the point where he goes up high to block, loses his leverage, and a defender just pushes him back. And he gets that has to change. Now he's hurt right now, but in this last year, the Saints are trying to aggressively find a spot for Penning when they should have kept it as a guard battle. And if Penning had to be a backup tackle, then that's fine. He played the right side, fine. That's why I was saying go get a veteran tackle. Stop playing this Dylan Redunce game because Dylan Redunce is a solid guard, but he's not a blindside tackle. You don't want to put a blindside tackle. You got 2 young quarterbacks. You don't want to do that.
They're gonna get killed.
You're gonna get them killed. So I mean, it's just a really stupid thing. Penning is still they trying to find a spot for Penning. They're trying to find a spot for Penning.
Yeah.
You know, and it simply is what it is. Red T says Ford, Stallberg, Stutzman, should all make teams. I don't know if we carry 5 linebackers. I don't know. We'll see. DeMarco Jackson's died man out. He played well today, but you're right. Ford, Stallberg, and Stutzman, those guys are rock solid young linebackers to say. Even Nephi Sewell is a good special team player. And yeah, DeMarco shouldn't have made the cut this far. He should have lost the job to the kid that we let go. What's his name? Anthony Orji. I don't see how he made it past Anthony Orji. Hakeem says if Rattler plays like Darnold did for Minnesota last year, then the Saints would definitely take that all day. You ain't never lying, brother. Hakeem, shout out to you, man. Interested to see who the cornerback 2 next to Kool-Aid is. Alontae Taylor had his issue. We've seen some good play by some of these cornerbacks here. That's going to be worked out as well. A lot of good battles here, Pops. So let's go secondary. What do you think about some of the secondary players? Which ones that you kind of stepping out? We know Kool-Aid McKinstry has been playing well. What do you think about the rest of these guys in the secondary?
I'm not all familiar with a lot of some of those young guys, but I tell you what, they were flying around that ball today, flying around pretty good. Some of them, a couple of them were really. It's gonna take a little time for them to get developed. I think we just got to be patient with them, and if we got a good coach, some good secondary coaches out there, and teaching them and coaching them up. Telling them what they need to do and tell them how to do it again, and then see how they apply the action on the field. I think we could deal with some of them. We may have to get another one later on, but we just have to just take our time. We should take our time with them. They're young guys, young kids, just coming off the street or whatever. They are the young draft choices. It's going to be patient. It's a big step up from college to the NFL.
Indeed, Pops. Yeah, that's very true. Shout out to the family, y'all. Listen, we got 140 plus people in the building. Y'all do us a service. Hit that like button, hit the sub button. If you're not a sub up. Give us a who dat in the chat, man. The Saints tied up 17-17. Fight back in the second half, put 17 up while stopping the Jaguars from doing anything. That's much respect for that type of performance in the second half, showing some heart. Y'all hit that like button and the sub button and the share button, man. Let them know we in here. The mighty Who Dat Nation, the great Saint Think Tank. Also, there is a poll question in the chat for the family members. We want to get your vote in. For the family members there, please feel free to vote in the chat. There's a chat poll there. Who do you guys think at this current juncture of time is leading the QB race? Is it Tyler Shough? Is it Spencer Rattler? Is it tied? Y'all put your vote in. Let us know what you think. And also, if you have a question, please feel free to throw it in the chat, man, as we kind of keep this thing moving along. So the Glock boys says, do y'all think we have the personnel to actually run a 34 defense? I don't see a Pat Swilling or a Vaughn Johnson type player on the roster. Pop, what you think about the Glock boys thought? Do we have the 34 personnel to be effective this year?
I think, way I look at that is the coaches obviously feel that they can run it. It's a matter of how the players adapt to it and how they take in what the ability to play the 3-4. They going with the 3-4 this year, so we can see how it goes. That's all thing I can say. We see how it goes. Then we may if they adjust to it pretty well. 'Cause like I said, they really did play a little bit better in the second half in their defense than the first half. So and just give a little bit of time, give a little more time. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more time. I see what's going on with it, but they want to play that 3-4, and they starters and number ones, all of them know how to play the 3-4. So I think I'll just give them a chance, give them time to see how this is going to work out.
Yeah, the 34, man, it's going to be interesting, man. Shout out to Rich. What's up, Rich? He says, Q, just seeing another head coach on the sidelines is huge. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man, for the super chat. Shout out to Rich.
Yeah, that's smart.
That 34 defense, man, I do actually think that they do have the personnel to run that defense, man.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I actually think they do have I think they do have that personnel. And then, they've added to the defense. Like they added guys that can be defensive linemen or guys that can kick inside, outside. That's a lot of versatile players that the Saints added with Staley. Staley left no stone unturned, adding and bringing people in. Even when they lost Tyrann Mathieu to retirement before training camp, they signed Julian Blackmon. And Julian Blackmon, all he does is come in and get interceptions and make plays. They drafted Jonas Sanker. Jonas Sanker got an interception today. He's been getting interceptions in practice. He's been hitting and, stuff like that. Alontae Taylor gets hurt. You got Rico Payton. Those guys. Quincy Riley had 9 tackles in the pass defense today. Quincy Riley, the cornerback the Saints drafted out of Louisville this year. He's making plays. It just shows that the Saints draft picks this year, all of the picks that they have are really doing well, especially on the defensive side. Whether you talk about Fadil Diggs, who's been very positive, Danny Stutzman, who you continue to talk about, Quincy Riley, Jonas Sanker. Those guys have been players that really have stepped up and helped the Saints throughout training camp and have really brightened the overall outlook of how the team is looking. So the 34 defense, absolutely, they got the personnel to run it. If Isaiah Foskey struggles, they still got Chris Rump, who's another player to talk about how good he's been playing. We mentioned all the linebackers, whether they're Isaiah Stallbird, whether they're Nephi Sewell, Jalen Ford, Stutzman. These guys are ballers, and they're really versatile. You can use them in different ways. The cornerbacks are another issue. I think the Saints feel pretty comfortable about what they got there, despite the fact that JT Gray is dealing with issues and Alontae Taylor. So the Saints feel pretty good about him. I don't know. I haven't seen much out of Isaac Yiadom, but man, listen, I do think that they have the ability to run a consistent and good 34 defense.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Duke says, I like the cornerback. Yiadom. Not Yiadom. Hugo Amadi. Yeah, I like his hustle. Yeah, he did that last year when he played the nickel position. He undersized, but man, Hugo Amadi gets it done, man. Hugo Amadi's undersized. He a hustler, Pops. He made his bones on special teams. He got an opportunity to play in the secondary. He a little guy, but he always around the ball. He got he's always around the ball. He making plays on the ball. He actually do a pretty good job in open field tackling too. Hugo Amadi is a hustler, no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Big Sean said, yeah, go ahead, Pops. You want to say something?
No, I'm saying yes, he is, and those are the kind of guys we need to think of the offenses of the other team. They'll know who to throw the ball to, throw in whose area to throw in. Oh, we can't go to that guy. Go in his area because he's so quick on the ball. He reacts to the ball, so he could be problems for us. And they could potentially have the talent to limit teams' ability to go to their area when they're throwing the ball.
Right. Yeah, I like Hugo Amadi a lot, man. I liked him last year. When he lined up, they had him at safety, then they moved him to nickel. And he played that nickel position really well. And him being back there with the injuries to Alontae Taylor makes all the sense in the world. I mean, the guy is comfortable at the nickel position. He does a lot of positive things. If he was like a couple of inches taller, he'd be a solid player. And so far as in NFP, they'd be running after Ugo Amadi, but the height is not enough. He's always making plays, man. That's the thing I like about him a lot.
Right.
King Eternal says, Q, do you think it's possible for the defense to be a monster this year? Realistically, the backup showed a little promise at the end. Being a monster, you mean like a top 10 defense in the NFL, getting turnovers, stopping the run, this type of thing? You know, I would, if I had to bet it, I would probably say they would be more closer to a top 10 unit than our offense is. You know, the offense last year was middle of the pack. I think where they were in terms of some of the statistics had the Saints offense, middle of the pack, 14th, somewhere around up in there.
Mm-hmm.
But the defense, if anything, the defense, we'll have to see, man. There's some interesting things going on. I just would be happy with us jamming up the run. I think the Saints did enough to try to tamp down people running on us. I think the safety play is something that, like, we got experienced safeties back there with Reed and Blackman,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that can kind of keep an eye out so we don't get burned deep. So we kind of stuff them up in the run and allow our people to move around, our linebackers that's smart, like Pete Werner and Demario Davis, to roam around. Now, I know Demario is kind of challenged horizontally moving around back there because he don't have that speed anymore, but he's still intelligent. But we
Right.
do a bunch of really good players. And not to mention, if you run in the 34 system, you got Chase Young and Carl Granderson who will be operating there as well. So that's that level of physical in play. So with those guys, so I think if anything, the Saints could possibly be a top 10 unit. You know, if we could stop the run, the safeties cover right, man, we could fill in all in between and keep this thing moving. But yeah, the defense, man, yeah, I would be really happy if we was a top 12, top 10 unit. Does that mean we doing something defensively? We create turnovers. What you think, Pop?
We could stop the run, but I mean, that's the main thing that we get. When we were getting gashed, I mean, from their starters against our starters. You know, they played the guys, the starters that played, they still weren't stopping the run. I don't know, maybe they weren't committing themselves because it's just basically overgrown practice. But you still got to be ready for when that first season game start, game one start. You got to be ready to shut that running game down because you're going to get run on regardless of how the cut go, but not too much like we've been getting run on. You know, God, man, they barely throw a pass and you taking and they gashing us for what, 5 and 6 yards a pop on first down. You know, a couple of runs, and that was in the initial, like I said, that was in the first half, but they made adjustments, you know, but it don't look good. You know, it doesn't look good because he's not going to get off the field if you're giving up that much yardage on first and second down. You know, that got to be the number one, you know, problem that we have to deal with is slowing it down or stopping the run because there's power in the football that's on the ground.
Yeah, that's something that for running today didn't look good at all. Jacksonville got where they wanted when they wanted. And things didn't change until they took the first teamers out and put a lot of second team guys in. The whole philosophy changed. So at some point, even though the first team have the talent, or they're better than the backups as far as the talent level, the money, and all this kind of stuff, there won't be much success if the Saints, from a defense and offensive line perspective, aren't able to do their jobs well. I mean, the Saints offensive line is going to be counted on a lot, a lot, because they're going to stack the box, Pops. They're going to stack the box against the Saints and force the young guys to throw the ball. So the Saints offensive line is going to have to protect these young quarterbacks, allow them to have time to be able to do that. And then when the time comes, they're going to have to open up the lanes for them to be able to run the ball. They can't be stuck in the mud like we've seen the last couple of years outside the first couple of games of last year. When we handle business running the ball, we can't allow them that type of energy to happen. You're not going to win many games if you can't dominate on defense. And the Saints did a lot of stuff to their lines. And, you know, you see that, so you want to say, okay, that means that we should be better than what we did last year.
Right.
And right now, we're not seeing that in the preseason, and that should be a concern.
Yes. And if Kellen gonna have to address that. He's gonna have to address that. But it should be good though, really. I mean, if we can continue, if we can get these guys to get in their head, that they can stop. They just gotta play their spot, play their little region. The guy running back coming to my particular side, I'm gonna stop him. That's my number one thing, to stop it. You know, so we gotta keep playing. You know, we gotta keep playing, you know.
Right. I mean, I agree. I mean, that's how I see it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fam. As we keep this thing going, we're gonna play a couple of interviews, man. Then we're gonna get on out. Y'all got any questions? Continue to please throw them in the chat. Also, like I said, it's a poll question for the family members. Who do you guys think are leading the QB battle as of right now? Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shough, both? Just put it in the chat. Let us know what you think about it, that particular thing, and why you guys doing that. Let's put on and hear from Spencer Rattler about what happened tonight. Here's Spencer Rattler.
Throughout that second half, I feel like we shot ourselves in the foot. Should have had multiple scores, I thought, down there, but I thought we moved the ball well. Receiver stepped up, made big plays, starting with Tipton. Obviously, he flashed big time today. Pettis made some great plays. I thought the O-line played really well. We didn't take many sacks, if any, in the second half. A lot of guys made plays. Love the play calls and played fast. We just got to finish more.
Do you feel like you had more sort of maybe downfield or let's just say big play opportunities this week than maybe what was allowed by the Chargers last week, and opportunities to take advantage of?
For sure. I think last week, first time live, getting settled in, and for a while, we got to all play cleaner. But coming into this week, we wanted to be a little more aggressive. I wanted to be a little more aggressive, play free, kind of play my style of ball within the offense, and just get it to the playmakers. If it's checking it down to Clyde, he did a great job. Bayless, all those guys did a great job on the easy throws, and then obviously the down the field stuff. Guys made big plays today, and those are momentum changers and get you in the right position to score.
On that downfield conversion, what did you see, and at what point did you know you were running? You knew you had it. Like, what was the evolution of that play?
Yeah, they had the perfect defensive call for it. They zoned it out. Passed it on. That's like a go-to 2-point play. They played it perfect, and that.
All right, let's just pause it right there, fam. Let's gonna get it back on. Get them that last question now. I'm having problems with it. But
on there, you got to extend and scramble, and they kind of let me leak out and saw the edge and just hit it. It's a good play.
How do you feel the overall interception? What were you thinking? Mental-wise, heading into that final drive.
That was a funky play. I mean, we ran that play, I want to say 4 or 5 times in a row. They gave us a perfect look for the throw. Me and Tipton weren't on the same page, and we're both kind of sick about that one, because we should have hit that. But next drive, he bounces back and makes a big play. And, he's a gamer, and he's very reliable. But, yeah, they made a good play on it. It was the right look for the throw, and made the play. Had to bounce back.
All right, so that's Spencer Rattler, man. Like I said, I just appreciate how he played in that second half, man, showing the art he did. You can see the chemistry and the camaraderie with Pettis and especially Mason Tipton. Mason Tipton really showed what he can do, but I'm not surprised by Mason Tipton. Mason Tipton did this same stuff last year when he was in a training camp in preseason. I was talking about when I thought, when we did the draft stream the year before, I was telling the family members about a kid out of Yale named Tipton that they should be aware of. The Saints didn't draft him, but they did sign him as an undrafted wide receiver. And I was saying, fam, listen, this guy could do this, he could do that, he could do this. And he did it well. Now, last year in the preseason, he made plays in training camp. He was one of the top young wide receivers there. He made the team. And then when he got an opportunity in the regular season, he dropped that wide open play. He was a rookie and he didn't look good. The offensive staff lost faith and confidence in Mason Tipton. And now that he's back in the second year, he's a natural. And one of the family members talked about how he reminds them of Lance Moore, right? And it's always a wide receiver like that kind of, we start invoking Lance Moore or, some of these other receivers that we had that were similar to Mason Tipton, like a Jerome Payton, Lance Moore. It's another one that I'm forgetting. Y'all know who it is. It's another one. It's Lance Moore. Remember Jerome Payton? It's another one I'm forgetting. but usually they invoke Lance Moore. I think Tipton is phenomenal. He might very well make the team, him and Pettis. So, I mean, the kid had a phenomenal week this week, but obviously Rattler and Shough, these guys have a synergy in the chemistry with the kid. So it's very popping.
Yep.
So,
And like I said, I love the way the kid plays. I mean, he plays the position with aggression. He goes after the ball and he makes the difficult catches. We need people like that who can make the difficult catches. And that kid obviously has that ability. So I'm expecting him to make the team. I would love to see it. You want to put a talented kid like that on the street for Atlanta or Tampa to get somebody like that, or Carolina. No, buddy, you want to make sure you keep that kid in there so he put him on the squad.
yeah, I think Mason Tipton was awesome. Like this year, he's just a natural. I mean, he runs good routes, and obviously, Kellen Moore doesn't really care about his receivers being 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". If he have guys that can run, Kenny Stills, there you go, Dre Day. Shout out to Dre Day. Kenny Stills, that's the one I forgot. That's right. No, it was Henderson. It was Kenny Stills. That's right, Kenny Stills. Lance Moore, Jerome Paython, Kenny Stills. That's right. That's what type of guys that this kid is, and he can run too. He got a high 40 time, and it's going to be interesting too. King Chosen will say he lazy at time too. I don't know if I'm gonna say the man lazy at time, bro. I don't know if I'm gonna say he's lazy at time, man. He says lazy. But that's not something I would put on Mason Tipton. I don't see him as a lazy player, bro. But anyway, let's get ready to hear from Mason Tipton, man, because he did do an interview. He was talking about what he did for the Saints. Let's hear from him.
Definitely didn't want to leave here with a loss. Definitely, I don't think we really want to leave here with a tie either. But, I think it just shows a lot of resilience that we have. I think I spoke on this last week, man. There's a lot of love and a lot of camaraderie within the team. I think we were able to show that. Coming back there, making some plays. At the end of the game. So I think that's the highlight of the day.
How about for you personally to be able to show that after the interception play and then come back? Take all the plays on the stretch.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I was really mad. That's a play that I got to make, and I'm mad that I had to. I guess Spencer ended up throwing an interception. And that's really my fault. So coming back, making plays. I mean, that's just the kind of player I am, and I'm always going to double down after a mistake. So I think putting that on tape and kind of showing that is it's big for me.
How was that your fault? What should you have done on that play? I'm sorry.
I just got to run through it, man. There's no way the DB's supposed to make that play. So I got to run through that slant so he can't even make that play.
Did you sit or did you get caught up?
I'm going to have to watch it, man. I mean, the bottom line is he beat me to the ball. So that's what can't happen.
Did Rattler talk to you after that, or did you guys have an exchange after that?
Yeah, the exchange was my fault. So and then we on to the next, man, and that's the way we got to play.
What did you see out of Rattler heading into that final drive?
Kind of shows you the player he is too. I mean, he's never going to give up. And I think before we even got on the field, it was like, man, let's go down, let's make some plays, and we're gonna win this game. And that was always the plan. So, and that's the type of dude he is, the type of leader he is. So, we're gonna ride behind him and make some plays.
You described that fourth down play on that drive.
I mean, it was what it looked like, man. It's like I said, man. I mean, we because of how Kellen is developing the culture, man, we're just gonna keep getting behind each other, man. And that's just what matters.
Mason, can you describe to us what both quarterbacks are like in the huddle?
Both are great leaders, man. I mean, they're both their own, individuals, and they both have their strengths. But what I like about all three quarterbacks is that they all command huddle, they all command the offense, and that's what you like out of quarterbacks. Really, is just guys that are going to come in, settle down, and run the show. So all three of them do a good job of that.
I don't know about Hayner, bro. Hayner ain't commanded nothing, Pucks.
Kind of have to, man.
Unless he in practice.
Not your friend in a 2-minute situation. So all 11 guys just got to be on the same page, get set, run the plays, get the ball, get it to the ref after the play, and just get ready for the next. I mean, it's kind of hectic, but we drill it a lot. So when we get to the games, it's, we're more comfortable, I think, than most because of how much we drill it.
You've been making a lot of plays both in practice and now in these first 2 preseason games. How has your game developed in the second season so far?
I think it's just comfortability. I think it's just having some growth for me from the year 1 to year 2. I'm just more confident, I guess. Really not confident, but I'm more comfortable as a player. I think I know what to expect. I know, the ins and outs and the day-to-day of everything. So it just allows me to play more free. And I think that's really what the difference is right now.
That's pretty cool, man, to talk about. We're here from Mason Tipton. He does give that vibe like he been here for a long time, even though he's just in his second year. Because in his first year, he was doing it and figured out. Like I said, he come out of college, he was a very solid route runner. He's really intelligent. He can catch the ball, and he got speed. I forgot what his 40 time was, but it's actually pretty impressive. So he's a guy that could take off on you and get and get upfield, blow the top off the defense. And the Saints building the track team, Pops. I mean, if you look at the wide receivers, the Saints have the top three first five wide receivers as it stands. If the Saints are keeping five wide receivers, it's the top three guys we know, and Tipton and Dante Pettis. All five of those guys can run. Saints building a track team. They can give a damn about height. They got a track team that can take the ball, the top off your defense if you try to stack the box. You know, how that will look is yet to be determined. But it's nothing but love for Mason Tipton, man. Mason Tipton struggled last year in that system. He dropped a few passes. His blocking wasn't there. They took him off the field. And then he came back later on in the year and tried to make some plays. They discovered Dante Pettis, all this kind of stuff. But much love and credit to Mason Tipton, man. He looks very polished, Pops.
Yes, he
very
does.
polished for a second-year player. What are your thoughts on him?
Stand out. Because his plays today stood out, you know, and he got him the ball, and he got behind the defensive back. I mean, the man got just like the man, like King Journal saying, you know, one of the other people are saying that he's got great potential, you know. And I don't know, you know, like I said, I'd love to see him make team. I'm pretty sure he's on his team, you know. It's just a matter of you know, what they just keep him on. He penciled him in, you know. Yeah. I think the kid is a legitimate you know, prospect for the team.
Yeah, you're right, Pops. I mean, man, having it just showed like how Mason Tipton, how he made plays, the speed, both him and Pettis. Pettis caught a touchdown, you know, in his own. Dante Pettis and Mason Tipton have been a blessing. Like the Saints got there. At first they started up to shake it, but it's obviously they done gained ground on all these other guys. Now, Velus Jones Jr. is another guy we talked about who looked really good in week 1. He was the team's top rusher, you know, in this matchup in week 2. But Velus Jones is another, Pops. Now, he's not listed as a wide receiver. He's listed as a running back. But, you know, the talking point is out of the 4 that Kellen Moore could possibly have 4 Saints running backs. If that's the case, then you're looking at obviously AK-41, Kendre Miller. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then Velus Jones Jr. If he keeps 4, that's what I'm thinking. Well, why would he keep Velus, Q? Because Velus is a weapon. You can use him at running back, wide receiver, and he also is a guy that you can throw into the special teams.
Right.
So if we talking about returners, Pops, return men, the Saints have not had, you know, they haven't solved the return battle. Velus Jones Jr. and Dante Pettis could be guys that you could see be used in the kick return and punt return aspect of special teams.
Right.
So to me, and once again, these are all speed guys. Velus Jones Jr. was telling people that he think he's the fastest Saint guy fastest Saint on the team. And Rashid Shaheed, like, what? so I mean, but to have that mentality, because Mason can run, Dante Pettis can run, Velus Jones can run. You know, Rashid, obviously, I think he's the fastest guy. But the Saints got world-class speed across the board. Whether it translates in anything, we yet to be determined. But still in all, the future's bright, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need guys that not only have speed, but have good hands. You know, and this kid seems to have good hands to catch the ball. You know, and them look like all 3 of those guys, as a matter of fact, have good hands. We need those kind of guys. You know, so the quarterback has to get that ball out. They can catch the ball and make some positive plays on the field.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Pops. I mean, it's just seeing the track team. Like at first, you know, you're looking at saying this guy putting together a freaking track team here. You know, it'll be fun to see. Right. I'm just saying, Pops, like
Yeah,
the guys
yeah.
that he have, these are all blazers. These guys can run. You know, you check the 40 times on these guys can move, man. But
Yep.
like I said, we'll see what's happening there, man. But
Mhm.
very interesting, man, to hear from Mason Tipton as we get one more preseason game. Pops, we got the last preseason game coming up next week in the Dome. It'll be another noon game.
Yep.
Coach Payton brings his undefeated preseason Denver Broncos teams into the Superdome to take on the Saints. We still got this will be the final game, so we'll be a lot of people. We're gonna see a lot of stuff like this. Feel for it, trying to get out who's going to be the starting quarterback officially. What the pecking order is going to work out in terms of the running backs. The tight end situation still is what it is with both Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau on the puppy list. We don't know how that's going to, who's going to be ready for week one, Pops, from the regular season standpoint. The tight ends still very much up in play. The backup offensive linemen play better this time around, not so much on our starters, trying to figure that out. So the punter battle is still another thing between Burnup and Kroger. So it's a lot of stuff going on for week 3 coming into it. So with early thoughts on what's going on with what you think will happen in week 3.
I hope we could play with more intensity against Peyton and his squad. Like I said, I'd like to see us beat Peyton, because he turned his back on the team when he needed it. So I like to see him get his butt kicked when he come back here. So, so that's pretty good. We need to get him. We need to get him and teach him some manners and make people to be respectable. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk, but the other question about Jake Haener not getting an opportunity to play, they had Jake Haener throwing on the sideline, warming up like he was about to come into the game. We said last week that's over with. Jake Haener went in there and threw that interception. When he did that kiboshed his chances of competing in the competition between. Once that happened, and we knew it was like, man, it's not a 3-team, it's not a 3-person battle, it's 2 people, and they need to get all the reps because it's close.
Right.
So and that's why Haener is designated the third quarterback. They got rid of Hunter Deckers to bring in the defensive end Martin. So it's obviously Jake Haener. They're going to allow him to be the third quarterback. So he is going to still collect the check holding the clipboard as a third quarterback while he watches Spencer and Tyler duel it out one more time.
Yep. This would be a perfect advantage to start the season off right. You want to win this last game. So you got motivation to beat this guy, beat Peyton, beat the Broncos. And they have a chance to go into the regular season with at least be winning one of the preseason games. I mean, they even though they practice, it's just something good psychologically to win at least one of those, especially the one closest to when the season starts.
Exactly, Pops. That's the point. The Saints lost, they tied. Now let's get a win. Yep. That's balance across the scale. And to get a preseason win, I don't care. People say it's just preseason, Q. They beat Coach Payton in the preseason, beat him in the preseason, regular season, or whenever it's still cool for us to have. And it'll be a good, like you say, a good jolt to kind of catapult us to have a win and taking that winning energy for the team to feel a win, whether it's regular season or preseason, for them to get a win because they felt really good about a tie. Let's see if they can carry that energy over to actually getting a win and take it from there. All right, let's hit we got the poll question, man, as we're about to get ready to finalize the poll. We have to have over 160 plus people voted on the poll. The poll question is, who is winning the Saints QB battle right now so far? So we had 160 plus people voted on the poll tonight. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. For who's leading it. The poll overwhelmingly said 81% of the 160 plus people polled said that Spencer Rattler is winning the battle thus far. 81%, Pops. 13% said, and the three options were Spencer, Tyler, and tied. Right. 81% says Spencer is winning it. 6% says Tyler's winning it. And 13% says that it is a tie. So that is very interesting. 80+% of the poll people said it's Spencer Rattler leading this thing. So
Yep.
who do you think will start with the ones next week? Because whoever starts at the ones seems to struggle. What do you guys think about that? Who is going to start? Now, of course, he hadn't made that arrangement yet to say, but you would think that he would then say, okay, we're going to put Spencer at the one, being that Spencer played well. I think they'll put Spencer at the one to see how that looks. So whoever seems to play at the one struggles, Pop. It's going to be interesting. But, to see who gets the call to be the one in week 3 against Sean Payton's Broncos, I say it's probably going to be Spencer Rattler who get his opportunities back with the ones. And
Right.
I think it'll be a scenario where I think as much as he could, Kellen Moore is going to try to get time to have both of them to kind of get time with the ones as much as he could use as much as he can do to try to get a clear indication. But me personally, I think Spencer Rattler is going to open up the regular season with the job. And like I said, that's the easy part, even though that's a great degree of difficulty. And I think once he gets the call, the hardest part will be holding on to position with that man, second round drafted quarterback looking over his shoulder. That will be the thing that Spencer Rattler, that's when the fun really starts. So, we'll see that, man. But Pop's final thoughts before we leave.
Well, I think my thoughts are along the line that most likely will be Rattler, because Rattler's got more NFL experience. He's got the NFL experience from playing last year. So, and he has improved. He has improved as of that. This game today especially in the second half, he played. He really did outplay. Tyler Shough. So the way it's looking to me that they're going to put him in there based on his experience and see how he handles the Broncos defensively, and then the second half they'll go with Tyler Shough.
Mm-hmm.
That's my prediction on how it's going to work out. And then we're gonna have Hayner left on the outside looking in like a baby doll with one eye.
Well, that's all right, Pops. There's plenty of windows to wash at the New Orleans Saints training facility. There's a bunch of windows to wash. There's a bunch of carpet over there. And they got a crap ton of grass that needs some cutting over there.
Yes,
so
they do.
They got plenty of stuff going on. They can use a coat of paint on that damn building over there, by the way. Yeah. They would give Havener a couple of paint cans, Pop, let them go to work. Also, you know what they need to do, Pops? They need to give Havener some paint and let him climb up there all the way to the top there and paint that damn old-ass Saints Super Bowl symbol that's faded by the sun. That's sitting on top of the facility. Maybe we can get something done about that, too. As well. But there's plenty of work for Jake Haener, even if it's not with the building. It'll be plenty of work at the post office. All right. Anyway, shout out to Lori and Brother Bishop. Shout out to you. Much love. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. Big ups to y'all. Total Glock boy. Shout out. Brother Gundam says ones can't protect BQ, especially Cesar Salad Ruiz. Yeah, and I'm glad.
Cesar Salad Ruiz.
I know it popped some shit I created, man. Because the thing about it is Cesar Ruiz has been, get a lot of grace. I don't know why, but and I've been pinpointing and telling people about this for a while, that he gets respect, like he's a good offensive lineman, and Cesar is incredibly inconsistent. On tape, he gets beat. Sometimes you don't know what he's doing. You don't communicate properly. All you have to do is study the film and watch what I'm like. I'll be pinpointing Cesar Ruiz. And it's also like the guy is had one solid year. That's the year before they paid him. And all these other years is mediocre years at the very best. And it shows that Cesar Ruiz should be our best offensive lineman. He should be better than McCoy. With all the reps that he got, is something missing up there. That's the big part. I tell people a lot of people not aware about it, or they don't care enough to talk about it. I'm like, man, Cesar Ruiz be getting it handed to him. I mean, they just don't be paying attention to him like that. They'd be like, oh yeah. They throw him in there and say, yeah, Cesar's good too. No, Cesar's incredibly inconsistent. He has the potential to be something better. That man's supposed to be a Pro Bowl level guard with all them goddamn games and reps the Saints done gave him. He ain't even close to that.
No.
So like I said, man, I'm glad to see the mighty Who Dat Nation is starting to see that for what it is, because I've been talking about that. Bishop said he garbage. I've been saying, yeah, King Chose will say he's not a guard, but that's
put a
what
garbage can in his message.
they find a silver trash can to put up there, Pop. Because this is the thing with Cesar Ruiz. That's why we're saying, because listen, that's the God, that's the truth. See, you got McCoy. McCoy is one of the best centers in the game. He played guard center. At one time, Coach Payton was going to move Eric McCoy to guard and bring Cesar for center. But then it didn't work. Cesar got hurt, and he just left him at guard. He struggled to pick it up. He really did good the year before he got his big payday. That year that got him the money. Then after that, all those other years, it's been years that it's not as good as supposed to. And I don't know what the man problem is, but after 4 or 5 years, how long has Cesar Ruiz been in the league? For like 6 years?
Yeah, at least.
That'd be like 5 or 6 years that the man been in the league. He's wildly inconsistent with a lot of things that he's doing. I just think that he should be on McCoy's level. He should be on a level where he's almost a Pro Bowl caliber offensive guard. He had all that time, and he's still not nowhere near that. And I've been pinpointing that for a long time. And I'm glad the family members finally see that. What's up, Bev? Shout out to Beverly, man. What's up, Jerry? Jerry Covington says Cesar Ruiz is the weakest link. Even more so than Trevor Penning. Yeah, Laura said he's a center. Yeah, he ain't even good at that, Laura. He ain't even good at centers. Like I don't know what it is with his game, but he's just wildly inconsistent. I don't know if it's concentration issues. His technique is not all that good. I mean, but somebody really need to stop playing games and really just dissect whoever the offensive coach is, not only just Penning, because Penning, at least you can give him grace to a degree by saying that he had a lack of reps. Like like I said, he really played 2 years out of he going into his 4th year. He only played 2 years. The first year was 1 game. The second year, I ain't gonna even say that, because the second year when they threw him at that left tackle, he crashed and burned so much that they just buried him. And then people just trash the man. I'm like, nah, that's not on him totally. That's Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen screwed that up. You shouldn't took the guy if you wasn't going to play him. Why would you draft a player in the first round if you are not going to immediately put him in the game and have a spot for him? You don't take no player with no first round pick that you're not going to play right away. Whoever you draft him with the first round pick or even the second round pick, those guys, even the third round picks, those guys are supposed to be slotted for potential starting positions. They should be put up there right away. That wasn't the case with Penning. They set Penning on a bench, played 1 game in his rookie year, threw him in at left tackle, and these people were saying the whole damn time about, he can play the blindside tackle. This foolishness that Dennis Allen was saying that, the tackle position don't matter. It's interchangeable. And I'm like, no, it's not. That's bullshit, man. Not everybody is a blindside tackle. Penning crashed and burned. They had people writing saying that he was going to do all right. And I was saying, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. I was signing the horns. And then when he crashed and burned, well, who could have seen that it wasn't going to work? I did, because I knew he wasn't a blindside tackle. They're not interchangeable.
No.
You can't put a man at the blindside tackle and say, hey, now go out there and handle your business. He's going to get it handed to him if he ain't the right man. You got to be up here. You got to be athletically gifted to be able to deal with it, because the blindside tackle is going to face the most elite defensive player that other team has. He gonna face it, because that's the blind side. You're gonna put that best guy over there to go at. That's the Myles Garrett's and all them people that's going to be over there on that side, going at the blind side of your quarterback, testing that guy out over there.
That's
he shouldn't need help all the time, Pops. You got, let's just send the tight end over there. Hey, Juwan Johnson, go chip him. Or send a running back to chip him. Chip your way out. That kind of thing. No. If that's a blindside tackle, Kelvin Banks Jr., that's a blindside tackle. The guy has a temperament, the athleticism, and a mindset to understand what he needs to do. Trevor Penning wasn't that guy. We knew Trevor Penning was a physical player, but Trevor Penning, from a mental standpoint, Pops, it just wasn't all there. And you can see it when he struggled. Even admit, you can see it in the man's eyes. He's just not that type. He's not that guy. He's not that Kelvin Banks Jr., that Tali Fuaga. He's not that guy. Them guys, you can see it in the eyes and see the temperament to know you ain't going to play with me over here. That's not that man. So, like I said, man, Cesar Ruiz, I've been saying that about Cesar Ruiz because the tape don't lie. And Cesar Ruiz ain't changing. He ain't getting no better. He ain't challenging himself. He should be the best offensive lineman the Saints have with all those reps and snaps that man was given. He should be the best. For whatever reason, he's not. So it is what it is, right? All right. Anyway, that's just a few more comments, Pops, and we're about to get out of here. Let's see. Ruiz. Yeah, Bishop says Ruiz the reason Breeze. Yeah. The guy beat Cesar Ruiz and literally just fell on Drew and broke Drew all up the hell. I remember that, man. Yep. Bombs over beats. What's up? Says, did you hear anything about who traded from? Did you hear anything about who traded from Saunders? From Saunders, sweetheart, say it again. Put it in the check. I didn't hear anything about. You talking about Kellen Saunders? I didn't hear anything about Kellen Saunders being traded, but I'll look and see if I can find anything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that just happened, sweetheart. Thank you, sweetheart. Appreciate you for that. That was great. Thank you, Bombs over Beat 504. Appreciate you. She just dropped some science right there and told me because the Saints, while we sit up here talking, the Saints traded Colin Saunders. While we sitting up here talking, breaking news, fam. The Saints trading Colin Saunders to the Jaguars, a team we just got through playing. Tom Pelissero of NFL Media reports that the Saints are trading Colin Saunders to the Jaguars. Interesting enough, Saunders just started for the Saints against the Jags today. Saunders, 29, was number 84 overall by the Chiefs. Out of Western Illinois, he finished the year on a 4-year contract. The Saints later signed Saunders to a 3-year deal. So they said they traded, and they ain't saying what the compensation is. I'm going to have to look and see what the compensation is for Jalen Saunders. They're saying that they trade him. Tom, he's saying they trade him. We don't know what the compensation is. I guess they ain't revealed it yet. So yeah, breaking news, fam. The Saints just hit the waves just like what? It wasn't that long ago. I mean, literally less than 10 minutes ago. The Saints, it just came in. Thank you, sweetheart, for that. Shout out to for the Queen for letting us know about that. All right, so there you go. Colin Saunders is gone. So that opens up, Pops, that opens up some stuff right there. Bink Saunders is out of here, man. Now, Bink Saunders is done. He gone. You got Devin Gocho, Christian Boyd. The Saints, John Ridgway could also fill in the nose tackle position to do something like that. So the Saints make a trade early on. This could be, we might see some more moves happening. Pops, what you think about this one? Colin Saunders traded to the Jags. I don't have no word of compensation yet, fam. I'm going to keep looking.
Well, obviously they saw some value in him, but they didn't feel he was a fit for this team. So they moved on. I'm assuming that's what happened. They must have moved on. I don't know if he played. Did he play today? I'm assuming he played. Yes,
he did. I want to say he did, but
yeah,
I want to say I seen him out there
mm-hmm.
playing, and I want to say that he was he played today. Matter of fact, the article said he played today because I want to say I remember seeing him out there. But I'm trying to figure out what the compensation is. What it can't be very much.
They didn't say much because they said, but they got on the side right there. The note saying something about, but they don't know what the compensation haven't been announced yet.
Right. So it could be. It probably going to be like a 6-round pick or a 7-round pick next year. We don't know exactly what it is. So
yeah,
it ain't going to be very much. We ain't looking for it. Probably be a 1st-round pick. It ain't going to be nothing like. I'm thinking maybe a 7-round or a 6-round pick. Something they gave New England for Devin Gocho.
When did they say they signed him? When did they sign him?
Who? Colin Saunders?
I'm looking at it at the same time. I'm reading the article here. So when was he picked up by the Saints?
He's been with the Saints for a couple of years now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Saints signed him later on. They picked him. He's been here for a couple of years with the Black and Gold. He signed in 20. He appeared in 13 games last year, but he's been a couple of years. He's been with the Saints. He signed a 3-year deal with the Saints. I think he had one. Well, then they re-up on they reworked Colin Saunders' contract. But yeah, he been here for a couple of years now, and it ain't work out, man. To be honest with you, it's just one of them situations. This didn't work out well for the Saints. When we signed Bing Saunders, I thought Bing Saunders was going to be better than what he is, but he ain't turned out to be nowhere near what we thought he should have been. He was tearing it up for Kansas City. Came here and just got toe up. I like Bing Saunders, but bro, that was what your tenure with the Saints described in one word: disappointing. I ain't gonna lie. Let me ask the family members. Great Saint Think Tank. Y'all chime in. Y'all tell me right now. It's 150 50 plus of y'all in here. Tell me in one word. Well, how would you describe now that Colin Saunders has been traded according to Tom Pelissero, that they traded him to the Jags? He gone. His tenure with the Saints is done. One word that describes Bink Saunders' time in New Orleans. Just one word. What mine would be disappointing. What would be your word? Disappointing. If I had 3 words, I would say waste of time. It did nothing for us at all. It was with him, Bink Saunders and Bink Saunders and Nathan Shepard replaced King Tut and David Onyemata. Them 2 guys came in at the same time. They were a major disappointment, both of those guys. And I'm surprised. Probably Nate Shepard ain't gonna make it. He probably ain't gonna even make it on the 53-man roster. I'd be surprised if he even make the roster. Him, because Bink was better than Nate Shepard. So we'll see what's going on. But let's. Jay says, "Q, did they say will we trade? No, did we traded Big Saunders for, or they don't list any compensation yet, bro? Pretty sure that'll be coming later." Kelvin says Trey Hendrickson's on training block. Do we go after him? Man, I would love to get Trey Hendrickson, but to pair him here. But you got Brissett, you got Vernon Brockton. I guess where is a will is a way, but I would love to bring Trey Hendrickson home. I think Cincinnati is screwing up big time. Trey Hendrickson is one of the best defensive ends in the game. He's not being appreciated there. I think it would be cool. And I think by bringing Trey Hendrickson and mixing them with the Saints have, man, Pops, that'll just kick the Saints defense up into high gear. I would love to have Trey Hendrickson come home.
If they could pull it off, I don't know, whatever Mickey Loomis decides, I guess. Yep.
Right. I mean, I would be for it if we can make it work. I know his contract will be astronomical, but Mickey Loomis would just whittle it down, give him a multi-year deal, and then whittle the first year down to like $2 million, and then it'd be an escalating contract from like $1 million to $2 million going up. Then the next year be 14 or whatever, and then he'll just rework the years like he always does. So having the money, and you got $20 million right now, and how Mickey creates these contracts, you can make a Trey Hendrickson move work that would make sense. Right. I would love to bring Trey Hendrickson back to New Orleans, man. I would absolutely love that. I think that would be a really good story for him to start here, go to Cincinnati, be underappreciated, and then come back here as a fully one of the toughest and best defensive linemen in the NFL in the Saints 34 defense. I think he could play that. I would love that, man. I would love that. I would actually really love that. I'm just going to keep it honest with you. I think it would work. All right. So anyway, let me see if I get some of the family. Willie says he was average. Okay. All right. Matt Ryan. What's going on? I'm like, one word for how would you explain what Bink Saunders was to the Saints? He was one word. I would say disappointing. I would say nothing, because he didn't do anything. He did nothing that was groundbreaking at all. I mean, his tenure was incredibly laughable. He went based on what he was supposed to be. Man, one word: absence. Right. 504 says, Q, we got a bag of Zap potato chips and a pineapple big shot for Saunders. Okay, yeah, that's better than necessary. Saunders in one word: weak. Thank you. What's up, Brother Abby? English says uninspiring describes his time. Indeed. Right. Indeed. That he had that in his yeah, that's right, Cap Manny. He said he had that interception in the Chiefs game. That's true. That's one thing he did. And Lori says, shout out to Lori, says, bring Hendrickson home. I would love to have Trey Hendrickson back. We got Mickey. What's up, Mickey? He said, hold on now. Hold on. I'm working on Trey. Stay tuned. Okay, Mickey. Shout out to Mickey. Mickey said he working to get Trey Hendrickson here. Don't be lying to us, Mickey. Don't come up here lying for us. We'll find your ass there in Old Metairie and empty a rubbish filled trash can on top of your head. Don't lie to us up in here. L Dub says, what is Loomis holding that? Why is he holding that $20 million? I don't know. T Roy said Saunders, he was sad. Lori said he was bad. Mickey said costly. Mickey, you wouldn't know you paid for that. I don't know. L Dub said, why they holding that $20 million? I don't know, bro. I don't know. English says there was a reason KC let him go. Chris Jones takes the load off a lot of the fellow defensive linemen. It just wasn't. I expected a lot from Bink Saunders. This is a big old guy at 300 feet backflipping and shit. And he ain't do a damn thing for the Saints of any respectable. The interception is one thing. He did have that. But outside of that, man, everything was like, man, it was a waste of time. So I'm waiting for them to get Nate Sanders out. Nathan Shepard gone too. Yeah, he caught that interception. That's true. Dude says, go get Trey. I would like 35 sacks last year, major impact. Oh, yeah, he would change everything, bro. I would. Seriously, man. I would love, it'll be a great story for the Saints to bring the trade, depending on what they want, to go and get Trey Hendrickson and bring him back and put him in the Saints defense. He could play that 34 end. He can do that. Trey Hendrickson can set the edge. He can rush. Trey Hendrickson is one of the best in the game. I would love, that would be a great story to bring him back to New Orleans. It would be cool. Yeah, Toad say Mickey and Sean lurking. Cartel says, long as we've been in the red, he need to hold on to some of the money. You heard me? Nah, Mickey ain't no such thing as red tape with Mickey Loomis. He just play with the money, don't he, Pop?
Yes, he does.
Remember several years ago, you had the Saints was over the cap by $100 million.
Yeah.
You remember that? $100 million. And Mickey Loomis whittled it down and kicked the can into the future and some kind of way signed like he did this year. He didn't make no decision. He just signed everybody. And who don't make the team, they just get, whatever. But it's just sad. But anyway, this is the Saints right here. This is some of the moves that was made under the Dennis Allen administration. Like we talk about some of these players that was drafted under the Dennis Allen administration that just not going to cut it in the Kellen Moore administration. Colin Saunders, Nate Shepard, these guys going to be out of here. Isaiah Foskey, I don't know if he's going to find a role for him, but some of these players are not going to make it. They're just not going to make it. Get a guard and a wide receiver, damn big Mickey. What the hell are you doing? Mickey is listening to Kellen Moore. But Pops, it's interesting, man. Mm-hmm. What do you think about Bink Saunders in his in his time?
Well, we're trying to get somebody to show up our line, and this guy, he's not contributing, he need to go. And then there's others along that line and in other parts of the team. You're not doing anything. They need to get them up out of here, and that's what they're doing. Yep.
Yeah, he started 27 to 30 games for New Orleans Pops over the last couple of years. He had 100 combined total tackles, 42 solo full tackles for a loss. To go along with a couple of sacks, he had 7 QB hits. He also deflected 4 passes and picked up 37 yards on an interception return off his old teammate Pat Mahomes. But outside of that, felt like a split was worse. The Saints added a lot of defensive linemen this offseason, trading for Devon Gacho, drafting Vernon Broughton, signing Jonathan Bullitt and Jonah Williams. And Saunders had played too many snaps on a run defense that had regressed in recent years. Trading Saunders now saves the Saints $1.3 million against the salary cap this year and more than $2.2 million in 2026. So we'll keep an eye out for the return from Jacksonville, but expected to be a late round pick. The Saints swapped the 2026 7th round pick for Devon Gacho in a deal with the Patriots early this year. So I'm anticipating something like that. I wouldn't be surprised, but like a 7th round pick or something from the Jaguars or a 6th round pick. I anticipate it to be very much.
Yep.
So that's some of the stuff right there, fam, to kind of talk about dealing with it. But once again, the Saints, while we sitting here recapping the matchup with the Jaguars, the Saints then turn around and trade Colin Saunders, who played today, to the Jaguars. That's the news right now. as it stands, man. So the Saints starting to get rid of some of these people, man, that don't fit what Kellen Moore and Coach Staley's doing on his defense. And be looking out for guys like Nate Shepard. They're making all this money, and younger guys are outplaying these guys like Boyd, and they got all these other guys here, John Ridgway, younger players, cheaper players, and Shepard them and Binks. If Bink is gone, Shepard is a matter of time before he gone, because they was a package pair, and they didn't do a damn thing since they've been here. Just keep it all the way funky, fam. Just keep it all the way funky. All right, Giovanni says, what did we trade for him? They didn't miss in any trade compensation yet, bro. That'll be later on. But like John Sigler from Saints Wire said, it more than likely it'll probably be a late pick, maybe a 6th or a 7th round pick for him for next year. Dre, they said, hey, Q, you seen that fight between the Saints and no, I haven't, bro. I'm going to have to look that up. I didn't see that, bro. Yeah, I didn't. Mike says, good Saunders is gone. Good Saunders is gone. About 10 more that need to be gone. Good, get something for before we have to cut. Right. Henderson will not be he says, what's that? A CK, as his team's trajectory is opposite. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you, man. Shout out to you. Reginald says, who that fam? Much love. He says, Rattler is the starting quarterback. Let Shough learn. Rat man got it. Okay, no, I think you're right, bro. All right, I heard about this 504 code. Eagles just got John Mechie from the Texans. Yeah, the speedster that couldn't stay healthy. The Eagles, this is what Howie Roseman does. Howie Roseman don't sit there. It's a different general manager. Vicky, that's why I be saying people, Mickey's more VP than GM, right? He's more VP. A lot of his GM jobs is handled by 3 different people. It's hired by Kai Harley, and he gets insight from guys like what's the farmer Randy Mueller, and it's another guy that I think the other Raiders guy is gone. The other Raiders guy that the GM, former GM Raiders guy, I think he gone. But those guys handle a lot of what the GM duties that Mickey do. He operates like a VP, So the whole thing about how Roseman operates, all he does is focus on that team. If they need help at the wide receiver position, he's there. Remember, he had all those trades over the last couple of years where they were able to build up the defensive line. When the starters got hurt, he went into the free agency and signed veterans to come in. So he kept bringing in talent, not some guy from Canada that he found. You know what I'm saying? Like the Saints do. They signed some undrafted cornerback person from Canada that never going to see the light of the field. And they go and get guys, veterans that can come in and help. Not some guy that they signed. You say who they signed, and then you go look to see what it is, and they got a generic Saints helmet on this picture talking about this. The Saints signed this guy, and it's a picture of the Saints helmet sitting on the field, or it's a picture of 3 Saints helmets lined up on the bench, or it's a picture of the fleur de lis on the field with the helmet next to it. When you see something like that, just know that guy probably ain't gonna see that damn field at all, because you couldn't even find the damn picture on. The Saints had to put a generic picture of it. How many times y'all seen that? They'll show a generic picture of the Saints. It'd be sitting next to you know what I'm gonna do? When I start seeing that happen, what I'm gonna do is when I report the story to y'all, I'm gonna create a graphic and I'm gonna show a picture of the Saints helmet sitting next to a silver trash can. Then I'm gonna show you, and then we're gonna talk about the player, because most of the times them guys are never gonna see the light of day. So I don't know why they do that. They're bringing these guys. None of the guys never see the light of day. But the Eagles don't do that. They be bringing these veterans because they're in the stage where they know they're competing for championships, and they got a window that they got to operate within. So it's crazy. But anyway, thank you for that, bro. Let's hit the rest of these, and then we'll keep going. Yeah, the Eagles never satisfied. That's because that's greatness there. That's greatness. You know what I'm saying? Jaden says, I'm very sad to see Colin Saunders. I think he was very okay for us. All right, thank you. Total Glock Boy said in 34 defense, the middle linebacker needs to be Norman Handhuge. And at least one of the linebackers in the 4th lineman is designed to confuse the offensive line. Brian, what's up? Brian says, what is up with the trade that happened to you after the game? Oh, you're talking about the Colin Saunders. Yeah, the Saints traded Colin Saunders. You see it on the screen. To the Jaguars. No compensation as of yet has been announced. Anticipated being like a 6 or 7 round 2026 pick. All right, something like that. All right, so that's just what you let, you say, hope we get a 5th round pick. I don't think the Jags that stupid, but let's hope they are. But like I said, it's more likely a 6 or 7th round pick. I ain't lying, man. Y'all, how many times y'all seen that? You just noticed that they do all. How many times y'all hear when the Saints sign these players? They sign these players, and they don't even have a picture of the player. It's not a picture of the player. It's a generic helmet. It's a generic picture. Y'all seen it? Don't pretend like you have. It's a picture of the Saints helmet sitting on the field, or it's a picture of 3 helmets sitting on the field, or it's a picture of the Saints helmet. Hey, Boss, it'd be a picture of the Saints helmet. I'm telling you, it's crazy, but you can see it. You'd be on their website. You could be seeing the shit. It'd be like a generic picture. And I said, oh, that tell you everything you need to know about whoever this player is, because they couldn't even find a goddamn picture to show you who the guy is. It's a generic picture of the guy. I see it all the time, and I'm gonna start pinpointing more because I see it. And I'm like, yeah, but I wouldn't be signing nobody that got a generic picture I can't find. From Canada somewhere. We need to get somebody that can actually help the team out. But it's very interesting, man. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be E7. It's going to be a 6 or 7 for Bink. All right. Brian says, well, this is the last one. What do you guys think about the season? What are we going to do? You think, honest opinion, when we make the playoffs? I don't know, bro. It depends on several factors. In particular, the Saints' offense and defensive line play. Can the Saints solidify? We've seen what they look like in the first couple of preseason games. Even in practice, the defense has been winning the battle over the Saints offense. They've struggled in practice. Some games they look better than others, but that offensive line, we hoping that it clicks and it turns on because we got to run the ball. Yeah. I do appreciate Kellen Moore's system. He's building a track team, but that ain't going to mean nothing, Pops, unless they have a solid offensive line to run the football, defense to stop and force turnovers in a solid special teams unit. Until I see if that line can galvanize and protect the quarterback, Pops, it's all based on that, to be honest with you. If they can get that together, I can see them winning 9 or 10 games because they can run the ball and throw the ball no matter who the quarterback is. If it's Shough or Rattler, they're good enough to get the ball. It's showing you in the reps that they're good enough to get the ball down the field. They will improve with the first team once they get more reps with them because you got guys bouncing back and forth. It's that thing going on too, and you know that most of the times that Shough and Rattler have most synergy with those 2s and with those 3s and 4s than they do with the 1s and 2s. But that will improve as the season going on, as the practices start accommodating. So go ahead, Pops, talk on that before we go.
Yeah, I agree with you, son. I think that the number one focus, again, been saying it ever since last year, and it wasn't addressed. Hopefully this new coaching staff will address that run game because they cannot stop the run. You have to stop the run. Anytime a quarterback gives the guy the ball, and then he gets 4 or 5 yards, maybe even 6 yards, 4 to 6 yards down the field before you finally stop him, you're not going to win. The running game, you got to stop it, got to keep it in check. And that should be their number one focus.
Yeah, we're gonna see how it works, man. They still got a couple of weeks before the regular season start. Family, like we said, is gonna be a couple of weeks. We got the last preseason game against Denver coming up. Coming up this next Sunday, and then after that, the Saints have a period of time where they have to whittle down the Saints 90-man roster to about 53 people. The trade recently, y'all see on screen that the Saints sending Colin Saunders out. I mean, they got some time before they have to get these, cut the team down. And like one of the family members, and I agree with him, said, you get something for the guy, whether it's a pick or not. It beats just cutting them, for whatever. You can save some money as well as trade them on out and get a draft pick back for 2026. Get your 7th-round pick back, that we gave up to get the defensive tackle that replaced Bink Saunders here. But I don't know if we're gonna see if they trade any other people, if anybody want any of these other guys, but a lot of these other guys ain't gonna make it. I don't think Nate Shepard with Bink Saunders being traded, I don't think Shepard makes it. They're gonna be a few other people that's not gonna make the cut. So like I said, to reiterate, the Saints they traded Colin Saunders, Bink Saunders, to the Jags. There is no report currently of what compensation that is, but people are anticipating it to be a 6th or a 7th round pick in 2026. for the player. So that's just a little inside baseball on that. All right. So anyway, with that being said, man, we're gonna get ready to get on that. But listen, thank y'all for joining us on the episode of the show. Shout out to the fam. Y'all do miss a service and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. We always enjoy talking Saints. You know, Saints put on a good performance today in the second half, tied the game, maybe coming up against Denver and Sean Payton in the last preseason game. We got a loss, we got a tie. Maybe we can get a win. You know what I'm saying? Let's get that popping. So anyway, with that being said, Pop, shout out to you. Shout out to the rest of the family members, man. And we're going to holler at you on our Monday stream. Much love and who that to you. Peace.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, Buggy like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Saints Central, your black and gold home for the New Orleans Saints.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. Remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who Dat too.